ladies and gentlemen, I gave Denver homework this week, and I think part of him resented me for it, but maybe we're starting to turn him a little bit. He watched his first full college basketball game in I don't know how many years, right? At least 5. At least 5.
I think the last time I watched a real college basketball game, we were still in middle school.
Oh God.
Downstairs. What grade was that? Was that 7th grade? Was downstairs?
Yeah.
Yep, that. I guarantee you that was the last time I watched a college basketball game.
All right, so that's borderline a decade ago. So he's been in the weeds for a while. However, not only did he watch just one basketball game, we got him to watch a couple, and he's slowly picking up on it. We can't just throw him to the wolves yet. March Madness is still to come. Today is February 28th, which means tomorrow is the official start of March. And with March comes my favorite time of the year, the March Madness. And so I'm going to get Denver fully invested this year, and it's going to be a good time.
Man, you're like in it. I love how in it you are to get me to watch college basketball.
You know that my favorite sport to watch is college basketball, and it's not particularly close. And I want someone to talk about it with, and you're the perfect person on a more consistent basis. How about that?
I'll take that.
There we go. All right. So we're going to start there, throwing it over for the video consumer. We just have a casual little top 25 from this is last week. Since this is a Sunday, this will get updated tomorrow. However, it's what we have to work with, so we're just going to throw this in the back for now and talk over it. Denver. Actually, let's throw this on the screen. Monday you did not watch, correct? We did not watch Monday, but it was Tuesday when you first started out, and you got something fun on your first basketball game back. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about your impressions?
So I should preference. What I do for work allows me to watch sports while I'm at work. So I'm sitting at work, and Dierks tells me, hey, watch the number 5 Illinois Fighting Illini, right? That's how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Versus the Michigan State Spartans. And I was like, fine. I mean, he's like, Illinois is good. Like, they're number 5. And I was like, all right, it should be, like, not even a close game, like, from my understanding. So I get in and I start watching it, and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Michigan can't shoot. They're playing very poor defense. And the Illini are just going ham. But, like, even when you look at, like, is that overall team stat? Is that for the game? It doesn't make sense to me because Michigan State ended up shooting really well, but that was in the second half. Because that first half, they shot so poorly. Like, it wasn't.
I think you're getting flipped
close.
around, but I got you. Illinois was bad.
Yeah, Illinois was bad. But no, like when I was watching the game, Michigan wasn't doing anything particularly
that's fair.
well. The first half of that game, it was a poor game by them. But I watched it and I was like, oh my God, there's a number 5 upset going on. My first game is an upset game in over a decade. This is exciting.
And so maybe that's going to help keep him hooked, folks, is the fact that he gets to watch good teams lose. I swear Denver loves that in just about every sport. Except when it comes to if his teams are actually good, which you never have to worry about when it's the Bears. But as a Lakers fan, he's enjoyed a couple of good seasons back-to-back here, so... that's when he enjoys the good teams winning. However, he loves a good upset, and that's why I think he's gonna really enjoy watching college basketball.
You know, I think so too. I think I was going in. I didn't have a pessimistic mindset. Usually I do, where it's this kind of negative. I'm out of both of us. I'm the more negative friend. Like I'm the more like, it's probably not gonna work out type of guy. But I went in with no mindset, preset mind, and it was enjoyable. And I've been pretty much following throughout the week. Even though I haven't been able to watch all the mainstream games, I've been kind of in the know about what's going on. So it's been fun. I will say that.
Yeah, just a quick breeze through the week. I tried to watch like one game a night, or at least like one half of one game a night. And so last Monday I watched Texas Tech Oklahoma State. That was kind of fun. Went to overtime, and Oklahoma State won. I was trying to get Denver to watch this game because the reason I think he would have enjoyed it is since he's a big NBA guy. Oklahoma State has the guy who's going to go number 1 overall in next year's NBA draft, almost 100%.
Interesting.
And so I'm sure you'll watch them at some point. Oklahoma State played Oklahoma yesterday and won at Oklahoma, who's number 7 in the country, and Cade Cunningham dropped 40 points. So.
Oh wow! What is Cade the guy you're talking about?
Cade Cunningham is a 6'8" point guard. And he moves like a knife through butter. It's just wonderful to watch. Can shoot, has great court vision. That's the reason he's going to be probably the top pick in the draft next year. You'll get to watch him plenty here in the next couple weeks, I'm sure.
I want you to use that analogy for a quote tweet, a knife like butter, because, man, that was a smooth quote.
Very cliche, but thank you.
You're welcome.
We already talked about Illinois, Michigan State. Denver was really happy about that one. I also watched a little bit of Kansas, Texas. That went to overtime. Had a lot of great games this week, which isn't completely out of the ordinary for this time of year, but I was just big blessed. Alabama, Arkansas was a fun game up until about 10 minutes to go, and then Alabama forgot how to play basketball. That was kind of funny. This was the game of the week for me. Iowa, Michigan. I was telling Denver about it. Iowa has Luka Garza, who is the big man who's probably going to win the National Player of the Year award, or at least he's got a pretty good kind of lock on it at the moment, I would think. And then Michigan is my probably favorite team to watch in college basketball at the moment. I just think the way they lock it in on defense, and then they just have a really fun, flowy offense. It's just great. A lot of fun on that game.
I'm excited to watch Michigan. You've talked really highly of them. I have not been able to watch a full Michigan game, but I do love defense. Defense is kind of my thing. So to hear that they're like super good on defense has me really excited.
And I was telling you about Franz Wagner, the little brother of Mo. So you already know you've got to be excited about that.
Lakers legend Mo Wagner, man. If you know, you know.
Can we just appreciate? I know they're German, and I love that. But can we appreciate how great the names Mo and Franz Wagner are? Like that's
the
just
most German names ever.
There's something about it. I love it. Friday. No, that's not yesterday. I didn't watch any basketball Friday, I don't think. Oh, that's a lie. I watched the South Dakota State men play.
Did they win?
They did. And if kind of a side note, the USD men are playing the NDSU men right now, I think, or maybe here in a little bit. And if NDSU wins that game, the SDSU men win the conference regular season. But if
that's cool.
But if USD wins, then USD wins the regular season. That's kind of a fun little thing that I'm going to pay attention to today. Anyway, moving on. Saturday, I watched some basketball yesterday. In spurts. Baylor, Kansas. Baylor lost their first game of the year. Denver didn't want to watch this game because he's like, oh, Baylor's just going to kill him.
Yeah, that was literally my saying. Because since we've started this podcast, okay, for anyone listening, viewing, wherever, right? He has been telling me that Baylor and Gonzaga are like so far ahead of everybody else that it's not even close. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, KU's ranked 17. They're not like overly great. I mean, they're okay. So I just assumed that Baylor would steamroll them. We'll get into what we were doing last night and later in the show, but there's a reason I wasn't watching this game, and I'm kind of upset I didn't because I would have loved this upset so much.
This is the perfect time, since you just called me out for really hyping up Gonzaga and Baylor. This is my perfect time I'm going to now evolve a little bit on what I said before. I will completely own up to the fact that I thought Baylor and Gonzaga were a little bit untouchable. Probably that was 2-3 weeks ago. They looked really good. And at that moment, Baylor shut down for, was it 2 or 3 weeks for like a COVID pause. Because they had so many players like with close contacts and stuff like that. So they didn't play a game or practice for 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks there. And so this is only their second game back from the COVID pause. They almost got upset by Iowa State a couple nights ago. And Iowa State hasn't won a game in the Big 12. And then they got their ass beat last night by Kansas. There's no two ways around that.
I just want to let anybody know who's listening or watching. Fun fact. I actually have been to the Baylor campus down in Texas. Last summer I went there to meet one of my family members. And they have a beautiful campus. I'll say that. But they got steamrolled last night, just like the way that they should, like normally. I like upsets, so good for KU. Plus, I'm in Missouri, and KU's kind of our meat, here for college basketball. So
yeah, you guys don't.
Really
it's weird. You guys in that part of Missouri really don't own the University of Missouri. It's like you've completely disassociated yourselves.
Well, like, okay, so like how Missouri is like there's Northwest Missouri, which is like where I'm at, St. Joe, and then Kansas City, and then it's like Missouri, and then there's like Southern Missouri where our buddy lives down there. And I found out last night through Grammy here that the reason that place sucks so much is that's like hardcore Bible Belt down there. It's like
true,
crazy.
Yeah.
So I was like, bro,
we'll have to teach Aaron about the ways down there. Anyway, I love that little tangent. That was actually really funny. And then I just have to give credit where credit is due. The one really cool thing I saw last night, while I was watching highlights and stuff, was this Illinois-Wisconsin game, right? One thing you might not know, since you watched the Illinois game early in the week, is at the very end of that game, Ayo Dosunmu, the point guard for Illinois, broke his nose apparently. So he's out indefinitely for the moment. So he's not playing right now.
That hurts.
And so, but they were handling Wisconsin yesterday on the road. Like they were in Madison and they were winning by 12 with 2 minutes to go. And then this guard for Wisconsin, this guard that ended up leading them in points, Dimitric Trice, he scored 19 of those 29 points in the last 2 minutes of the game. Yeah. It's some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen. This is not disparaging on the mat. Like it was insane. Like just like seeing some of the shots he made were crazy. He went 5 for 5 from 3, including like there were some leaners in there. It was just all wild. But yeah, this man almost single-handedly brought them all the way back in the last 2 minutes of the game. That was just kind of wild. This is why I love college basketball, right? Like I'm so invested. I know we've ranted and just kind of droned on here a lot, so we'll wrap it up very quickly. Denver, now that you've had kind of a week of watching or otherwise consuming college basketball, overall thoughts, are you going to be invested in this maybe for the long haul?
Yeah, I think so. I think if I can get a couple more games in a week, I would be much more happy about my knowledge of college basketball. I got to try a little bit harder. My work week's kind of messing it up right now, but I will still try to watch it as much as I can. I do. It is very entertaining. You get a lot of people who are amateurs. Like, and I'm not used to saying that. Like, they're
And
a lot, that's why they're in
I'm
college.
sure you don't mean that
but-
in like a derogatory way. That's just what they
No.
are at that point, right?
Yeah, and I'm not used to that type of style of basketball. I really like my pro basketball, but it is entertaining to watch. There's a little bit of a stake, I would say, because like I bet Illinois drops like down, like after that loss. Like even though they won later in the week, I bet they still drop down a few pegs, which can mean a lot in March and like the tournament and bracketing. So that'll all come into play. I'm excited for March Madness. Again, for people who don't know, for our audio listeners, visual listeners, like our second podcast, I told Dierks that we're going to make a bet on brackets, and I guarantee you my bracket has more wins than his because I'm going to get quick knowledge about this sport.
I'm not going to come out here and brag or anything. I'm just going to really hope that does not happen, because if I'm the one who supposedly is the expert between the two of us and I lose, not if it's close, whatever, I'll take that. But if I get like blown out, I'm just gonna be really sad. Let's just hope that doesn't happen for my pride's sake.
You're gonna be really thinking like it's a math problem from like high school, like who is like gonna win. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, yeah, dude, I take this super seriously. I got a spreadsheet and everything. That's no bullshit.
No way. Really? God, I got to make a spreadsheet.
No, you don't have to. I'm just telling you. I got the mathematical equations. I got that good. Don't worry. You have no idea. I'm pulling out all the stops.
Watch me create the first perfect bracket in history, and you're gonna be like, bro, how? Knowledge.
Knowledge is correct. That's gonna do it for the first segment. Let's just move on.